Hey, everybody. This is Steve Tarter, another edition of Tartar Sauce. And here in the beautiful Peoria Journal-Star podcast room, I'm going to call it that this time. With me today is Claire Crone, the program director for Sophia's Kitchen, which is in Peoria, 103?
Yes.
103 Richard Pryor
Yes.
Drive. I think it's Drive, is it?
Place.
Almost got it. But it's nice to mention Richard Pryor. And anyway, if people don't know, and maybe there's people watching or listening to this that don't know, how would you describe Sophia's Kitchen? You've been there 8 years.
I've been there 8 years. Sophia's Kitchen is the largest soup kitchen, the largest Catholic soup kitchen in the Peoria Diocese.
Oh, wow. And so how many folks meals do you serve? How do you kind of categorize that?
Sure. Last year we served almost 90,000 people in the year. Right now we're currently serving about 500 people a day. 500
people a day. And many people are probably listening or hearing this and are going, wow, 500 people a day. And so who is serving them? I mean, you're not doing it all by yourself, Claire. I know that.
No, I have.
You would like to.
Well, that's probably true. But I have a great staff of volunteers. We have Sister Merlinda is on staff, and then my assistant, Courtney. And then I have about 250 volunteers that come.
Wow. So
yes.
500 meals a day and 250 volunteers, and they rotate in and out.
They do, yes.
Yeah.
We're there Monday through Friday, and on each day we have 2 shifts. So I have a morning shift and an afternoon shift. So we'll have somewhere between 10 to 20 volunteers on each shift.
And now this used to be over, where was it before it moved to your present location?
It was at Sacred Heart Church.
Right there in downtown Peoria.
Yeah, it had started very organically over there when someone was hungry and came to Father and asked for something to eat, and he went in and made him a peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
Absolutely. And then he brought his friends back, and Father started making a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Well, see, that just shows you're good at something, people are going to ask you to repeat it. And how do you get the name? Sophia.
The name Sophia's Kitchen comes from Sophia Donald, who was a little girl who died in a car accident. Her family had been very involved in the kitchen previous.
Right here in Peoria?
Yes. Yeah. Her family had been very involved in the soup kitchen before her accident. And after her accident, they decided that they would hold a fundraiser in her name every year. And they donated a great amount of money to the program. At the time at Sacred Heart, the kitchen had, like I said, it was organic, so it had started as out of the priest's kitchen.
Right.
And so it was very small, it was very tight and cramped, and their numbers were expanding quite a bit. So that kitchen had really run down, and the family looked at that and they said, we need to really help them. So they'd done a large fundraiser for them, and that seed money allowed them to move over to our current location next to St. Joseph Church.
And you're right across the street from, I believe, the PHA.
That's correct.
Yeah, Peoria
Yes.
Housing Authority.
Yes.
So it's that area, not far from downtown.
Right.
The folks that come there to get food, to get drink, they don't pay.
No.
You walk in. How does that work?
They just tell me they're hungry. They just ask for something to eat, and we're always happy to feed them.
And the food changes by what you have available.
Exactly. We always purchase peanut butter and jelly. So we have like the basic staples on hand. But then Heart of Illinois Harvest is our main supplier of food. They bring us food every single day.
Wow.
So whatever God gives us is what we cook up and serve. And my cooks are magical because they never know what they're going to be cooking when they walk in the door. They just go in the pantry, find whatever we have, and then they make something fantastic.
Wow. That sounds like every bachelor's dream. Hey, go in there and find something that we can eat. The question I was going to ask you, and many things come to mind, is how is that sustainable? Where does the funding come from? Is it from the church or people donating, or how do you? Because obviously, I know you're getting your food, and we should mention probably Heart of Illinois Harvest. What a great effort that is in the community, and I've had the pleasure of doing several stories on them, so I gotten to know some of the folks there. But many of them are retired folks that go around to supermarkets, restaurants, stores of some kind that sell food, and pick it up and then just drop it off at many places like your own.
Yes, they
across
serve
town,
about
churches and things like that.
Yeah, they serve about 70 organizations. Most of them are a lot smaller than we are. We serve about the most people of anybody in their area.
Right.
But most of our funding comes from, well, we started originally with just Sacred Heart parishioners who were so generous. Since then, it's been expanding. We have a lot of Catholics who donate to us. But the people of Peoria in general are just very, very generous.
And you've got a fundraiser coming up.
We do.
What tell us about that?
That would be Sophia Sunday, every year in July, which was the month of her birth and her death. They hold a fundraiser. This year will be the third annual official fundraiser. They'll have pulled pork sandwiches, hot dog meal. We'll be doing that on July 1st, and this year we've changed the location because it had gotten so popular. It kind of outgrew where we were.
That's a good deal.
It was, yeah. So we're going to be at the Knights of Columbus on Radnor Road.
Okay. Yep. I happen to know where that is. And what is the time again on that?
From 11 until 4.
11 to 4 on July 1st.
On July 1st. And besides the food that they're going to be having, there's also a silent auction. They told me today they've got bouncy houses for the kids.
No, the kids will like that, yeah.
Big kids, little kids. I don't know if they'll let me in.
The bouncy house.
Yeah.
People know, have a mental picture of that. So when you do your fundraiser, do you have a goal? What did you raise last year?
Last year, I believe they raised about $6,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
which is great. It really helps with our daily operating expenses.
I was going to say, because regardless of all the great volunteer labor you have and the food that's donated, you're still dealing with electricity, water, all those things. You're and we should mention too, it's getting hot out this summer. The heat's coming back again. You guys also, you're a cooling center there at Sophia's Kitchen.
Absolutely.
So that takes money. You've got air conditioning.
Right. And our HVAC system right now is a little iffy. We've been having a few problems with that recently. So
when you say iffy, what does that mean?
Well,
it's on, it's not off?
It means that back in the kitchen, it is super, super hot, and over where the patrons are is very, very cold. Oh, boy. So we're having a real difficult time balancing the system right now. It's not the way that the building was originally built. It was designed for that, and then we've kind of changed a few things over the years. So the addition of the good refrigerators and the dishwasher, which is, and the cooking that we do on a daily basis. I mean, it was adequate at the time that it was put in.
Right.
But now with the additional moisture that we're putting into the building, and then we had divided the building a bit so that we could have the dining area, the spiritual center, and that I could have an office with walls. That was really awesome.
Wow, you wanted walls?
I know.
Gee, aren't you a little demanding, Claire? Claire Crone here at Sophia's Kitchen. I've been to Sophia's Kitchen, and it's a beautiful spot. I mean, because I don't know how people mentally think of a soup kitchen. Because, I think if you've seen movies and old movies or whatever, you think, it's kind of like a tantamount to a bus station or something where everything is sort of. It's not that at all. It's upbeat. It's bright. You've got lots of windows. Very pleasant, big, wide area.
Yes.
I happened to be there one time when you were talking about the survey that you folks had performed. Tell us about that. What did you gain? You did a survey of your patrons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We know what we think that everybody wants, but sometimes, as I say, it can be like what Grandma thinks you want for Christmas, and you get the socks and you didn't really want them.
At least not in that color.
Exactly. So thanks, Grandma. But so we wanted to make sure we knew exactly what our patrons' needs were. Based on that survey, we did find that 1 in 5 are homeless. So they have, some of their own unique needs.
Right.
And then, we always hear these stories that we're like, no, that doesn't support in what we're seeing. And the survey did support what we were seeing and guessing at. But most of our patrons don't have cars.
Right.
Most of them, like 80, I think it's 3 out of 4, come to Sophia's Kitchen either by walking or by taking the bus or by sharing rides with other people. So there's very few of them that actually own a car. So, when we hear people say, they pulled up in a Cadillac, It's really not true.
Yeah. You don't see that at your
No.
place. Well, I think sometimes people have those. It helps them say, well, I'm not going to worry about those people because that's a big faking thing. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what else? I mean, did you figure out that, because I know the one thing that really struck me, and you told me this and I saw it firsthand, is you treat everyone, no matter who they are, that comes to that window and asks for something, just as you would if you were at McDonald's, or maybe better. I can't speak for McDonald's, but I mean, the idea was they're a customer.
Right.
Not just somebody who wants something for free.
Exactly. We want to give everybody a piece of their dignity back. By having it where we are now, we are all on one level. So if you're handicapped, you're able to roll up in a wheelchair and you can come directly to the window and you can ask for what you want. So you're not forced to take something that you don't want. If you don't like peas, you don't have to eat peas. So we want to make sure that what you're getting is what you need, what you want. So just to give that little piece of dignity back is huge.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised at the reaction that we got when we initially opened and people realized that that was our model, that we wanted to make sure that they got what they needed, and because they thought that they were just going to be handed something and told to go sit down.
There it is.
Not true. That's right.
Is that something that you instruct your volunteers on, or do they... how do you communicate that to the group?
Sure. So our volunteers have a morning meeting each day before we begin. We also have newsletters that go out to them.
To kind of reinforce that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and we're talking to them all the time. We also have priests and deacons, sisters who are there enforcing the Catholic message to them.
Oh, that's great.
So anybody that comes to eat is not asked to be Catholic or to follow the Catholic doctrines. They just need to know that we are Catholic and that we will follow Catholic teachings.
Right. And now, in your time there, you've been there 8 years. Is the need increased?
Yes.
Because I know one of the things we hear, and I think this is national, not just Central Illinois, that the homeless, the plight of the homeless is a problem that's increasing.
Absolutely.
What have you seen in your time?
When we very first started there, I think the first day we had about 50 people come to us.
Throughout the whole day?
The whole day, yeah. Yesterday we served 500. The day before we served 560 people. So it has just definitely gone up. It increased, it just kept increasing. There were days last summer that we saw over 600 people, almost 700 people a day.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely.
And I imagine that varies depending on weather or something like that.
The weather, the time of the month, whether they've just gotten their own food stamps or if the children are home from school, that makes a big difference too.
Do you get children there too?
In the summertime, about a third of our population is children.
Wow. And these are, is it, I mean, I don't know how you'd know this, but is it evident to you and on the volunteers that some of these folks just don't get enough to eat? I mean, or is it, they receive a sandwich as if it was, Thanksgiving dinner or something?
My boss is Monsignor Deptula, and when he first arrived at the kitchen, which we'd already been in existence for quite some time at that point, one of the first things that he noted was the malnutrition of the people. And in third world countries, we think about the swollen bellies or the very thin people, but here we see a lot of obesity. Which is a little counteractive, when you think about it. But It is the heavy carbs that they're given. When you're poor, what you can afford is macaroni and cheese. A lot of macaroni and cheese, a lot of pasta, a lot of starches. So when they don't have fruits and vegetables, you're going to have some malnutrition that way. And that's one of the things that we really stress is getting as much nutrition into their diets as possible. I don't like sugary drinks. We always try to get something at least that has a vitamin C to it. We're working as hard as we can to have a fruit or a vegetable in absolutely every meal. So our soups are just jam-packed with vegetables, fruit salad all the time, lettuce salad all the time. So we're trying to get as healthy of a diet into them as we possibly can. Yeah,
that's and of course that that whole subject has come up when people talk about the food desert.
Yes,
that an entire area. Well, we'll take a look at Peoria, where unfortunately a couple of Kroger stores have closed. And now, those folks are, and I don't want to, sort of besmirch any other store that sells food because they're all trying to do business,
Sure.
but they don't have the variety. As you said, they're heavy on certain things
Sure.
that, unfortunately tend to be the cheaper things, and
Exactly.
so that's what people get if they can't afford anything else.
We've been very blessed from not only donations from Heart of Illinois Harvest, but also from the Peoria Food Bank. They're just down the street from us,
Right.
and they have started bringing us pallets of fresh fruits and vegetables every week. So we get somewhere between 2 to 4 pallets of fresh fruits and vegetables. And if you don't know how much a pallet is, it's a lot.
And you go through it, though.
Oh my goodness. Well, we bring in as much as we would need to cook. And then we have the patrons will gather around and we just give them whatever they want.
Oh,
so
I
they're
see.
able to take,
food with them.
a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. And one of the most beautiful things that I've seen is that, they'll ask me, may I take this to my neighbors? So, they're not only watching out for themselves, but, they're
Right.
gathering enough food so that their neighborhood will have food too.
That's great.
So, they'll fill their trunk, and I'm happy to have them take it, happy to have them eat it.
Yeah, because there's a time limit on that stuff. I mean, obviously,
Absolutely,
yeah,
yes,
and
yes.
you got to. Well, we're all going to find that out when tomatoes come up, and and all of a sudden everyone brings them to work or shares them with
Sure.
friends. You got to eat these; they're going fast. Claire, what's the one thing that you would like to see, done as a sort of a follow? Obviously, you've got a great number of volunteers. You've got the program working. Is there a next step, or is there another point that you'd like to reach at this point? I mean, is it a matter of going further with your hours or a second location? What are you thinking about?
Hours would be really difficult for everybody.
Which are what are they now?
Exactly. Right now we are open from 9 until 3.
Okay.
So we run 2 shifts. My morning volunteers are there from 8 until noon, and then the afternoon volunteers.
You've got to staff that whole time.
I do, yeah. And then the afternoon volunteers are there from noon until 3:30. So and then you figure in our hours too. Staffing that would be really difficult to do anymore.
Right.
And we just get tired.
Right.
So-
and burn out your volunteers.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and our staff, because we are a small staff. So, but I think what we're leaning towards now is looking forward to improving some medical aspects. Right now we have Nurse Peggy is there on Thursdays. She's with OSF.
Right.
She's our parish nurse. So we have been working with her, and we're trying to work on getting maybe some more behavioral health, mental health, people who could come down there and give us a hand. So we're kind of trying to work a little bit towards that aspect. We're also working, obviously, towards getting more spiritual needs met there.
And that especially what you mentioned before about malnutrition and things that result from a sort of a spotty diet. I guess
Sure.
a diet made up of whatever you can find.
Yes.
That would probably help to have somebody providing more information to them and saying, well, preventive medicine. I mean, that's rather than let them get in that state, headed off.
I was just talking to a young man last week who's doing his thesis on this subject. So
On what?
On food insecurities and how to help. And one of the things that I pointed out to him is when we were young, our parents had home extension. So our mothers were able to
Right.
go and learn how to cook with different things, how to grow vegetables. And we've kind of fallen away from that. So there are a lot of foods that our patrons don't know how to cook. They don't know how to grow themselves. And once you present it to them, they as I said before, the food comes in from the Peoria Food Bank. People are taking things, and I saw a young man grab an avocado and bite into it like an apple.
Oh, boy.
And I said, maybe that's not the best way to eat that. But he'd never seen one before. So,
Right.
then we're out there literally giving food lessons in the parking lot,
Right.
explaining to them what this fruit is, how you prepare it, how you cut into it.
Yeah.
So, I asked this young man with the thesis, I said, perhaps we could use something like that, is having some more education for them, as we're doing we run a food pantry once a month. And I said, while we're doing that, in conjunction with that, if we could have someone here showing them how to prepare different foods.
the food pantry, is that canned food and everything?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
So that's also part of your
Sister
thing.
Merlinda helps with that. She kind of runs that, and once a month on generally the last Friday of the month, we put out all
That's coming up, right?
It is this next Friday.
Yeah.
Yes. She puts out all of our canned goods, and whatever we can find, whatever God gives us is what we're putting out there. And then as people come in, they're given a sack, and they can go down the line and pick whatever they would like to have. So they fill a whole bag full of groceries. And generally we're running about 115, 120 patrons are coming in to take advantage of that.
Wow. Well, we're talking about Sophia's Kitchen at Richard Pryor Place. Right next to, what's the church next door?
St. Joseph
St.
Church.
Joseph, beautiful church in downtown Peoria. I can say that because it's, it's not far from the central business district. The one thing that struck me when I was there, the people seem to be at peace in and I don't.
Yes.
There's not a great police presence or anything. You don't see a security guard.
Correct.
How does that happen? Because somebody might think, oh, you must be in danger with all those folks down there.
When I first started, I was pretty nervous, I have to admit. And it took not very long at all to realize that, first off, they understand that, if harm comes to us, we shut the program down, and then they have no food.
Yeah.
So, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, for one thing. But I do have to say it's a presence of God down there.
That's cool.
We make it as spiritual and peaceful as possible. I don't put up with nonsense down there.
Oh, very good. And you can believe her, folks. You can believe her. No, that's good. Well, you have to. I mean, that's almost like parents at the dining room table or something. We're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna abide by certain things and try to live up to it. If somebody wants to help, whether through money or through time, what should they do, Claire?
The easiest way would be to go to www.catholicpeoria.com and follow the link to Sophia's Kitchen.
There's a link right on there. Okay.
Yeah, and that'll explain everything in the program, show you where the application is and where the donate button is. We also are on Facebook, too.
Do you get, now you mentioned 250 volunteers. Is there a steady stream? I mean, you're always having somebody new come in, or somebody brings somebody, and hey, he or she is just getting started.
Exactly. Yeah, we have about, right now with the summertime, we've got about 4 or 5 volunteer applications come in a day.
Wow.
So.
Well, it's a happening place down there,
is.
And we're so happy you could come by. Let's give the fundraiser one more time. It's Sunday, July 1st.
July 1st.
And it's from 11 to 4?
Yes.
At the Knights of Columbus Hall on Radnor Road.
Correct.
And you get pulled pork sandwiches and drinks, I'm sure, and there's a bouncy house and
silent auction.
Silent auction. What kind of items you got for your silent auction?
Oh, they got some really cool things at the silent auction this year. There's gift certificates for Le Peep Restaurant. That's pretty neat.
That's good.
They have 4 Notre Dame tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can go
Notre
see
Dame
football.
Local school or university?
University.
University. Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
That's the one in Indiana there. Okay.
That's the big one.
Right.
Yeah, they've got kitchen baskets, holiday baskets. So they have a lot of different things. I did post pictures on Facebook of a lot of the different baskets that are coming, but there's more coming in every day.
All right. Well, I'm sure people will jump on that on Facebook. Claire, thank you so much for coming in and sharing all the information about Sophia's Kitchen, which is just a great resource here in Peoria.
Thank you.
And we're so happy.
We're always happy to give a tour of the place.
All right. And I want to thank Matt Dayhoff, who's been at the controls here, gets us out on Facebook so folks can find it and learn. And also, hey, we'll see you next time on Tarter Sauce.
Thank you.